Shepard warned us they were coming. But we didn't listen. Now the fate of our world, of every world, rests in his hands.
Spoilers!
Yes.
It's time to talk about spoilers. All the locks have been disengaged, and the shock bracelets that I make you guys wear are turned off. So I swear to God, just say whatever you want to right now. What do you want to spoil? Nick, what do you want to spoil?
My God, it's full of stars.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Mass Effect 3. We're going to talk about the end of Mass Effect 3. But for this conversation, the entire plot of all the Mass Effect games is up for grabs. So, specific details are just going to be thrown out there like you all know what the fuck we're talking about. So,
yeah, basically, you have been warned.
Yes.
You cannot bitch in the comments below
Yes.
that we're spoiling anything.
Yes.
So
if you want to be surprised, turn this shit off now because we're going to go into a lot of incredibly specific stuff. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to hear Jason Murphy, Nick Hodges. I want to hear your stories of the end of Mass Effect 3. Like, what was it like for you guys?
My gut response, again, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, as I was telling you guys earlier, and I had gone through like a 6-pack of beer and some scotch throughout the long playing thing. So I wasn't, 3 sheets or anything. But my initial gut response was, where the fuck did that come from?
Talk about your dicks out of nowhere. Seriously.
Dicks out of nowhere. Yes.
it seems
Nick?
that you're still in shock recovering because you were like, yeah, it's not that. It's bad, but it's not as bad as you guys were making. It was like, well, you were drunk at the time. And the wound is still fresh, so it probably hasn't sunk in yet. So.
Plus, my expectations were really low.
I can see that. I'm just imagining the old-timey, like, Civil War sawbones, like, pouring scotch down you before they're just, like, holding up the screen with the Mass Effect 3 ending on it. Here, take a swig of this. It'll kill the pain, sonny.
This is going to hurt. Because everyone had been telling me, oh, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible. And I don't know, I saw some, I think I got what they were kind of trying to do, and it was ambitious and kind of interesting, but it was always also a dick out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I would really love you to just to explain that one further, because I don't think it was anything ambitious at all. I mean, we know a couple of people saying, I don't see what the big deal is. I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. No, it's a big, it's a complete 180 from everything that they're building up throughout the entire franchise.
Nick, we got a schedule here that we're going to stick to.
Oh God, man. Okay, look. Everyone knows our opinions. Okay, the ending fucking sucks, donkey dick. Okay, like we said it yesterday. It hasn't changed today. It's not going to change tomorrow. The ending is fucking bollocks.
All right, what was the ending? Tell one of you who can explain it a little bit better. Because I had to look it up because I was like, oh, shut up, kid.
All right. Okay, so this intergalactic task force, they build the Crucible, which is a super weapon that's supposed to wipe out the Reapers. It turns out that you've got to connect this thing to the Citadel, which is the catalyst, and then nobody's quite sure how it's going to work. So at the end of the game, you're fighting. Shepard's trying to get up there to open up the Citadel because the Reapers have closed it up and they can't get access to it. So he opens up the arms of the Citadel. The catalyst goes in. There's some stuff with the Elusive Man we're not going to go into. And then nothing is working, like nothing is happening, and that would have been a great place. Personally, when I was playing the game, up until that point, I was like, I don't know what people are talking about. This is fucking great, like it's action, excitement,
I agree with you 100% because there's a moment where Shepard and Anderson, they look like they're dying, and it's like, wow, it's a great view. We did it, Shepard. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, well, I've kind of got here my eye right here. Well, okay.
Yeah. So then Shepard.
That's where the credits should have come. Just like, boom, Mass Effect 3 credits. That would have been like the perfect ending. But
Somebody's actually put that together on YouTube, and it works pretty well. So then Shepard gets lifted up into this like secret area in the Citadel, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but whatever.
Which looked like something out of Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Bodies everywhere.
Wait, no, after that when
it's at the end, at the very end, when he gets like lifted up onto that platform, we can see.
Oh. Right. Okay, that part.
And then that stupid kid that they were trying to make us care about the entire time shows up, but he's a hologram, and he says, I am the Citadel, and I made the Reapers, and this is good because it segues.
No, he says he's the catalyst, isn't that what he said? Like, I am the catalyst, not the Citadel.
He says the Citadel is the catalyst of whatever. But basically, this segues very well into what I wanted to talk about. And one of the first things that I have a real problem with is the logical inconsistency in this ending, because the next thing that he says is that every time in history that a civilization evolves to the point where they can create synthetic life, they can create sentient machines, eventually those machines murder them all, and dude, that sucks. So I created these giant, the Reapers. I'm gonna refrain from trying to be funny in this. I made the Reapers. The Reapers come in whenever a civilization gets advanced enough, and they basically liquefy them down and make them into Reapers, which are not robots. They're actually cyborgs that have a whole civilization worth of DNA rolling around in them. And then we take off. Presumably, they don't ever say, but presumably they also destroy all the machines that have come to life. They don't actually say that, but I guess they...
That does make sense. Their argument is that they wipe out all advanced civilization because if they wiped out all organic life, then we couldn't have survived, basically. Right. Because 50,000 years ago, they would have wiped out monkeys on Earth. And
then after that, they piss off and... they let the whole thing happen all over again. And then they come back whenever things have gotten to this level. But because... civilization has built the catalyst and the crucible, this isn't an option anymore, and so you have three choices. And these choices are Shepard dies and controls all the Reapers, or Shepard shoots this thing and all the Reapers blow up, but you've doomed yourself because when the Terminator machines rise, like, you're going to be fucked. Or number 3, Shepard jumps into this beam and everybody in the universe is now part machine, part person. From there, it jumps into Joker and the Normandy going through the mass relay, and they get hit by this energy pulse. When this happens, it's going to take out all of the mass relays as well.
You have no choice. All the mass relays get destroyed throughout all of these.
Absolutely. You cut to Joker in the mass relay while it's getting destroyed. The energy wave is coming. It hits the Normandy. They crash on this jungle, Eden, stupid whatever, and like.
Pandora, pretty much. It was Avatar.
People roll out of the Normandy, and that's the end of the game right there.
And then you get that bit with Buzz Aldrin where he's talking to this kid on this planet, and the kid's like, "Tell me another story about the Commander Shepard." Yeah. It's like, well, here's one more story. It's like, ooh, open ending, And then if you get enough points when you decide to destroy the Reapers, you'll get like a shot where it goes over some rubble, and then you see the body of Commander Shepard, and he like breathes for a second, and then it cuts to black, so insinuating that Commander Shepard has survived.
Yeah. The first and biggest problem that I have with this ending is the crap that little dick is saying to you is stupid. It's stupid.
It makes no sense. Like, what's the explanation? Like, because you create synthetics, we're trying to save you from being destroyed by destroying you.
Yeah.
That's the argument, right?
The problem is that if you play the game, if you have Legion and Tally alive and enough Paragon points, you broker a peace between the Geth and the Quarians. You spend half the game getting Joker and Edie together romantically, and then at the very end of the game, it contradicts itself. Like, it's say, there's no way for synthetic life and for organic life to live together ever. You said, what? I just did that. Like, I did that like an hour ago. What the... So that was one of my big problems, is the fact that if you wanted to take that tack with the ending, I could see that. If you wanted to do that, like, put that plot point with the Quarians and the Geth in a position where there is no way to save both of them. You have to wipe out one or the other of them.
There is a fundamental storytelling flaw here, I thought. For a game that's about building alliances and making hard decisions and relying on your friends and living up to your legacy, this whole synthetic versus organic thing was only just touched on, was only just hinted at throughout the rest of the entire story, much less just the third one. And for that to play such a pivotal part in the ending, it really felt like, oh, wait, what? I was supposed to be invested in that?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't. I was invested in saving the universe and building alliances. And it's like the whole series was about one thing, but then they take this really what was a minor plot thread throughout the entire trilogy and turned it into the entire crux of the story at the 11th hour. And that just didn't work. That did not. All of my investment, and I was more emotionally invested in this game than any other game ever.
Absolutely.
Ever. And for me to be invested in this game and then for them to say, oh, wait, you know what? In Return of the Jedi, really, remember that bounty hunter in Empire Strikes Back? But at the end of Return of the Jedi, we're going to find out that it's all about IG-88. It's like, that was important. Okay. I didn't know that.
Plus,
it was just foisting that on us.
I mean, in that context, it also makes no sense. I mean, I don't know how you guys played the game. That's one of the things. The game is different for everybody, but Commander Shepard throughout this entire series it's always seemed like part of the story has been, here's an impossible situation, Shepard. There's no way that you could make this work. And Shepard's like, dude, fuck you. We'll figure out a way to make this work. And then suddenly,
his motto has always been, there must be another way. There must be another way that we can negotiate or do something that no one has thought of
right.
yet. So, for him to take what this little shit is saying at face value doesn't seem like Commander Shepard's character, whether it be Paragon or Renegade.
Absolutely, especially not Renegade. I mean, I've seen Renegade Shepard. I cannot believe that Renegade Shepard would listen to this thing. Like, Renegade Shepard doesn't take shit from anybody. I mean, it doesn't matter if the whole universe is coming to an end, that he's still not going to take this. And I guess that's another one of the problems with that exchange, is that I felt like it was too short. Like, they presented this whole thing in a really short amount of time, and they didn't give you that. I mean, they gave you, like, I think 1, maybe 2 conversation prompts. But it seems like if you wanted to take this tack, like I've even thought about this for a long time, about if you wanted this to be the ending, if this is really where you wanted to go with your story, you needed to convince me. You needed to convince me that this was the way. You needed to have a conversation that said, but wait a minute, the Geth and the Quarians are living together right now. And the kid says, well, no, we've seen that before. It'll never last, blah, 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 blah. And you say, but what? There must be another way to do that. And the kid says, no, we tried that 10,000 years ago. Here's some video footage of it. It didn't work. But the fact that it was a pronouncement on the part of the game, that the game said, this is it, and this is where the story is going, and you really don't have a lot of say in it outside of these 3 switches that you could push at the end of the game. That was one of the things that just really got underneath my skin, and that it wasn't, you spent all this time and effort building this fleet up and building these alliances and making friends, and then at the end, it just didn't really matter. And I think that's the thing that I'm pretty sure a lot of other people are pissed off about.
Yeah. They tried too hard to take a game that was about combat and political alliances and everything with a little bit of, again, as something, a phrase I've used many times before, transhumanist philosophy, just a little sliver. That ending would have been much more apropos in Syndicate or Deus Ex.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
in fact, that was the ending of the original Deus Ex.
Right. It was. Yeah. But with this, it should have been just, and I know this is going to sound pedestrian and everything, but it should have been some hard decisions, and you letting, an entire civilization sacrifice themselves, or maybe the Quarians had to die so that everyone else could live, and you were at the crux of that decision, and the rest of it was, it should have been a choice like that.
They did do choices like that. I mean, since
but that should have been the climax.
Since this is a spoiler, free podcast, we can have spoilers in this. In the Arrival DLC, in order to stop the Reapers arriving early, you have to destroy a mass relay, and by destroying that mass relay, you wipe out the entire Batarian star system, causing the deaths of 300,000 Batarians to save the lives of trillions of galactic beings. Yeah. And that would make sense for this. But the cost, all of the cost of all of these choices is way too high, because the main thing is you have to destroy the mass relays in order for this to work. And the mass relays are the only way for these galactic civilizations to travel. They can't do anything else. So everyone is stranded. In fact, that armada that you bring to Earth, you got thousands of millions of different species, and they're fucked because the mass relays are destroyed and they're stuck on Earth. So they're probably going to be like, starving to death or killing each other. And there's also if the mass relays are destroyed, shouldn't they destroy the star systems as well? According to the logic of the franchise.
I think that the idea with that, because having played the Arrival so close to Mass Effect 3, because this wasn't so much that because in the Arrival they shoved a giant asteroid like a moon into the mass relay, and that's what blew it up. And I think that this was less like violent destruction and more just like they kind of shattered apart. So it wasn't like the energy inside was coming out and destroying the whole solar system. I think it was more just like the relays themselves were destroyed, but it wasn't that same style of explosion from the Arrival. At least that's what I got from it.
True. But by destroying the mass relays, you are dooming the entire galaxy.
Yeah. By
cutting off the only way to travel. So, none of these endings are good endings.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if there was one of those endings that would have let you save, if they had said that, in this ending the mass relays have to get blown up, or in this ending they don't have to get blown up, like. That would have been more satisfying if you had a choice about that. But once you start thinking about the ramifications of this huge armada of really shaky alliance of people all now stuck on Earth, I mean, I defy somebody to explain to me how that's going to work out well. Like they talk about how quickly the Krogans breed, in another piece of the story.
Now the genophage has been cured if you did it correctly,
right.
and also now Commander Shepard isn't there. They're going to be fighting each other for dominance, and there's hardly any food on Earth to begin with because it's been destroyed by the Reapers.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
But there's so many parts of this that I have a problem with. I mean, there's the other thing I was thinking before was, okay, you've got this kid's plan about the Reapers coming in to exterminate life. Say this is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like if the Reapers are coming in to basically separate organic life and the sentient constructs that they have created for their own good, why don't they come in and just like talk to the galaxy? Just go to the Citadel and go, we are the Reapers, destroy all the machines or else we're gonna fuck you in the ass. And then, I mean, like that would have had just as much chance as working as like just going to.
Did they say who? Did they say Reapers? They're gonna fuck us in the ass, dude. Those guys are huge. Space aliens called Reaper. Oh, Reapers. Oh yeah, go about your business, guys. That whole ass fucking thing. That was just a bluff. Whatever.
Yeah, but it like so many of those things didn't make sense. Like what they. If this is really your plan for intergalactic benevolence, you've gone about it in the biggest dick way that you could think of. Like, why not just come in and wipe out all of the sentient machines and then leave?
They're actually quite stubborn if you think about it, because the kid says no, it happens every single time. It's like, well, clearly not, because I'm standing here and I've proven you wrong.
Yeah.
So, surely this would not happen. And plus, since you are controlling the Reapers, why don't you just fucking turn them off?
Or just what if you just chill out for a minute and we can sit down and talk about this? Like the Reapers in the galaxy, we can all have a little chat, we'll pass out tea and biscuits and
yeah.
You make a good point, Shepard. I'm glad we had this chat.
But the Reapers, like the Mass Effect 1 and 2, they're not saying, we're doing this for your own good, Shepard. They're like, instead they're saying, your species is a genetic accident. We are the salvation to your own destruction. And they're talking like really demonic and really evil. So it isn't like the species like, we're actually trying to save you by destroying you, if you think about it. Nothing deep as that.
Switch there.
I was really expecting, honestly, the ending that I was expecting was like Liara, Ashley, Miranda, and Tally to all show up and go, hey, by the way, we're pregnant, and this is your fault, Mr. Captain Swinging Dick of the Universe. And I would be like, whoops, my bad. Let me go talk to Joker real quick. Joker, take off right now. I don't care where the fuck we go. Go.
Is that why Joker was in the mass relay running as fast as he could away from the battle? Like
that is what happened. He's like, I don't care. Just find a place, but you and your robot bitch can come. Let's just get out of here.
Speaking of that, we should actually quite address why Shepard was running, why Joker was running away from the battle to begin with.
There's the only thing I've ever heard that addresses that is that when Harbinger. I'll come back to Harbinger. When Harbinger comes down, he's blasting everybody when you're running for the beam. That if you listen to the radio chatter, that they're like, "Dude, this is all fucked. Everybody bug out. Like abort the mission. This is." But and that's the only thing that anybody's ever put forth to say why the hell. Because when you make that decision, like they're in the middle of mid jump. Where the fuck were they going? Like. They were.
Yeah, but Joker would never ever leave you behind. Yeah. Your team would never leave Shepard behind. They would stick with you right until the very end, whatever your decision was. So I find the idea of him, retreating right in the middle of the battle, the greatest battle of all time, he would be fucking put up against the wall and shot.
Well, plus, I mean, nothing. That's the thing is that nothing that you've seen over the course of the game would ever lead you to believe that would happen. Like it would be. He didn't want to get off the ship in Mass Effect 2 when it was chopped in fucking half by a laser. Like, why would he be running?
Yes,
you had to drag him off the bridge.
He went with you on a suicide mission, knowing that you wouldn't come back alive. There was a strong chance. If you run away from the battle, there is nowhere else to return to. This battle, like, you either win or die. That's it. There is no coming back. So him running away is absolute rubbish.
Yep.
I would actually like to give some props to near the ending of the game, before you make that last push towards the beam, when you go around talking to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And just having conversations and, everything leading up to that. I had to, recount some of my favorite moments. I had ignored Lieutenant Douchebag the entire game. And so I finally went down there and I was like, all right, I'm going to go talk to this guy. He's like, what? And he's all pissed because you ignore him the whole time.
What did he say? I didn't know that.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even think you knew I was down here. And so I was like, oh, is that how it's going to be? So I took the Renegade option and everything. And then I fucking punched him. And we got into a fist fight.
That is
awesome. He was such a jilted little bitch. I got into a fist fight with Freddie Prinze Jr.
In the middle of the apocalypse on Earth, like the Reapers standing like 20 feet over that way. And
this was actually right before that.
Oh, okay.
This is before you land on Earth. But when you are on Earth with the Reapers, a few feet away, the other stuff was really good. When you go and you talk to Liara. My favorite part, though, is talking to my homeboy Garrus.
I tell you what, I've talked on a few of the playthroughs and stuff that we talked about how I thought that Garrus was, I like a lot of the Mass Effect 2 characters more than Garrus. That conversation that you have with him was some of the best. Like, it was just perfect. Like, it was just excellent.
Yes.
And
it was like these guys are Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Shepard and Vicarian, together again.
Yeah. It was. I'm gonna get a fucking silhouette of Shepard tattooed on my arm. It was like Garrus forever. It's some of the lines. I just love it. And again, since we're going all spoilers, where he's like, "I don't know what your heaven is like, Shepard, but if it's anything like Tyrion heaven, meet me at the bar." And I was like, fuck yes. I was toasting my TV and then you're showing like, well, I don't know if we can pull this off. And he's like, you go out there and you give them hell. I was like, you're goddamn right, bro. Come on in here. Man hug.
It's not gay, all right? No one's watching.
Dude, I was like, at that point I would have been like, I'd go gay for Garrus if that was his last wish. I'd be like, you got it, buddy.
Did you have? Since we're talking spoilers, I thought it was really funny. If you romance Liara and Tally is still alive right before the end when you're going to go talk to everybody before you fly back to Earth, you open up the weapon bay that Garrus is in, and him and Tally are making out.
Oh, and that's hilarious.
Yeah, and they're both just like, Shepard, I got my thing caught in her deal. And he's like, yeah, he was looking at my suit seals. And you're just like, dude, high five, bro. I'm out. Like,
Sorry to interrupt. You carry on. I'm proud for you both. Yeah.
but actually, you know what? This actually makes a really good segue into kind of what I wanted to talk about next, which was just the one of the problems that I have with this, and I think it's one of the things that gets overlooked a lot of time, is if you look at Mass Effect 2 from just the perspective of story structure, that's one of the reasons that I was so pissed off about that ending, because like all that stuff up until that point had been great, even the conversations that you have with the elusive man, and it had all been building one step at a time towards this epic climax. And then when suddenly this stuff just comes out of left field and blindsides you, it just felt wrong to me, like just from a story perspective.
Because the endings of Mass Effect 1 and 2 were fantastic.
Yeah.
I especially love the ending of Mass Effect 2. There's no dialogue. It's just Shepard going down the bay, and all of his teammates are looking at him and just giving him the nod like, yeah, we fucking did it. You know, it's time to show these Reapers what we're made of. And it was like, yeah, and you get excited as the Reapers are actually about to enter the Milky Way, and that left you feeling pumped up for the sequel. And in this, I'm just like, okay, all of that, all those struggles that I went through is now going to get concluded, and in the last 5 minutes, that gets snatched away from me by some little shit, you know, who's got like a biased opinion on organics.
little ghost robot AI kid, whatever the fuck he was supposed to be.
You know what? They tried so hard to make you care about that kid, and I just never did. All the bad dreams and shit. It was just like, dude, Morden Soulless sacrificed himself. If you want to trot out a character that I'm going to have an emotional connection with, make that hologram Morden or Anderson or somebody else.
They did, actually. In the dreams, you can hear Morden and Legion like all calling out and saying like a few of the lines they said before they died. In fact, since we're touching upon the dreams, should we go into the indoctrination theory, because that's gaining some very heavy weight in the web?
We'll come back to that. I want to talk a little bit more about the overall structure of the story. So,
right,
Jason, you're going to say something?
I just think that they tried really hard to turn it into some pseudo-philosophical stuff, like to make it all thought-provoking, like the end of 2001, and leave some questions in there while having a resolution. And they didn't. You know, they just it was really, that's where I said it was really ambitious as far as that ending goes, but they didn't set it up correctly, and they were trying too hard to make it important when they should have just focused on making it satisfying and badass.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it would have been one thing if throughout the Mass Effect series there had been these kind of hard tonal right-hand turns. Like, you know, if the end of Mass Effect 2 had been, you know, if it had gone in a strange direction like that, some people may argue that it did with the freaking giant people reaper robot thing, but the series has been a pretty straightforward space opera. It's been a pretty straightforward kind of space epic, you know, with the all these decisions that you make, and all, you know, well thought out universe that evolves as you play through the game, and then to suddenly go for that at the end, to suddenly take this kind of really traditional storyline and say, well, but now we're going to make it the thinking man's sci-fi game. And go, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, back up to when it was, back up to what you had before. Like, tonally, it just doesn't make any sense to go in that direction. Or at least I think so.
No, the whole point of the game is that you could choose your own destiny. You can't choose your own destiny at the end because it's laid out in front of you in just 3 simple paths, which is 95% the same, apart from a few tweaks here and there.
Which, I mean, which is definitely another thing that brings this ending down, is that after I saw that ending, like when you're standing there in front of the 3 choices, and I like alt tabbed out of the game, and I took my auto save and I copied it to my desktop, and then I went back and I reloaded it so I could see all 3 endings. And just the fact, like, even if this was the direction that you wanted to go with this game, just the fact that like 95% of the assets are the same for all 3 of those endings, that doesn't fill me with confidence about this was the direction that you wanted to go. Like, if you had this choice, but it had been 3 radically different cinematic endings, I would probably have been less pissed off than I am now, because that would have said, okay, you have a choice, and that choice results in 3 different things happening. But the fact that every time Joker's flying through the master relay, every time it's just the exact same cinematic of energy coming out of the out of the Citadel, the Catalyst, the Crucible, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like that just reeks of like we did this at the last minute, or at least it does to me. Because I can't imagine a company that's spent this amount of time and money and art assets and just, is so invested in this series, giving you these 3 endings that are, for all intents and purposes, the same thing. I don't know.
I kind of expected that there would have been like a giant pulse to begin with when I started the game, because since the Reapers are so difficult to destroy, like you need a whole fleet to destroy one. I thought that maybe a hard choice was you can destroy all the Reapers, but you have to destroy Earth in order to do it, and that would have been one of the hard choices. And I'm not just saying I want a happy ending where I see like all the Krogans and Turians like shaking hands and giving each other high fives, and the Quarians and the Geth getting along, like the end of the Return of the Jedi. We see the Ewoks kind of blowing the fucking stupid pipes. I wasn't expecting that. Just they said we could have 16 different endings. We did not get 16 different endings. We got 16 endings, and they're all 95% the same. So it's them bullshitting.
I agree 100%. Jason, get anything to say about that?
No, that that sums it up. I think really everything said is valid, and the more I think about it, the more I'm frustrated with the ending.
I told you, man, the more you think about it, the angrier you get, because I played this game a few days ago, and I was very disappointed after I came over my shock, and then the more I started looking it up on YouTube and speaking with people, it's like, yeah, it is actually really shit. It's kind of like the first time you watch The Phantom Menace, and then you get more and more pissed off the more you think about how crappy that film is.
You're barking up the wrong tree with that one.
Oh, because he's a prequel fan. But the rest of the Spill members know what I'm going on about, so yeah.
Well, speaking of, there's a few things.
I'm not taking the bait. I'm not taking the bait.
Well, that's because it's a trap, Jason.
It's a trap.
So the last, I guess, a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. The next thing I want to talk about is I've been watching this stuff. I've been reading a lot of forum posts and stuff like that, and this is where we're going to get into the indoctrination theory. But there's a few things that people who are fans of the ending have said, and while, like, I want to make it clear with this, that we're not trying, that at least I don't think I am. I don't know about you two guys, but I don't want, if somebody likes this ending, I don't want to hit them over the head with this was a shitty ending until they hate it. Like, I have no intention I don't want to change your mind. I think it's just that I got to get this out of me somewhere, and rather than making some crappy GeoCities page that's devoted to freaking Mass Effect 3, blah 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 blah, that we could get on and talk about this a little bit. But there are a few things that people have said that have brought up some interesting thoughts in my mind just about games and gaming in general. And the first one that I want to talk about, just is something that I've seen on a bunch of message boards, is people that have said, this is BioWare's game. They can do whatever they want to. You don't have any right to be saying, you guys need to rewrite this ending, or that ending was shitty. You need to just, that was their story they want to tell, and you need to shut up about it. And in a lot of cases with a lot of games, I could almost get behind that. I'm still a big fan of letting people talk about what they want to talk about. Like, I think you should, call me an idiot, agree with me, whatever, that you should be able to say what you want to say. But in the case of Mass Effect, I think we've got a really interesting and unique game here, or challenge to that assertion here, because of the way that they've kept track of the things that you've done over the course of these games. Yeah, BioWare made this game, and yeah, it's kind of their story, but you know what? It's also my story, too, because I was the one who decided to save Rex, and I was the one who brokered the peace between the Quarians and the Geth, and I was the one who did Miranda's mission and kept her alive, and I made the decisions when we assaulted the Collector base about who was going to do what, so that some people lived and some people died. And in a lot of cases, that defense works very well, but because BioWare has done such a good job of investing people in the story, I feel like it is less valid in this case.
Yes, and also I don't think that they can really play that it's their art card, because the moment they bring that Jessica Chibutz, or whatever the fuck her name is, an IGN game journalist into it, they're trying to appeal to a big of an audience as possible. So it's no longer just like a cool little side project or whatever. This is just mass marketing. So they've got us hooked into the game, and they listen to fan feedback. they really need to listen to the fan feedback now. So
Yeah, I really, well, that's just something that you and I touched on the other day. Sure, yeah, it is their game, but they offered it up as something for us to enjoy. And if we don't enjoy it, we're allowed to say why. Just because we didn't make the game doesn't mean we can't criticize it.
Right.
It was offered up for us to enjoy, and it's not, if you don't like it, shut up.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So no, it is within everyone's rights to say why they didn't like it, and or why they did like it, and also within everyone's right to disagree with that and to argue. So yeah, just because we didn't make it doesn't mean we can't criticize it.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other one that I've seen a lot, I saw this a few times on some of the IGN boards, was that, kind of a straw man type of thing, and they say, well, you guys are all just pissed off because it wasn't a happy ending, because it wasn't just like, even Penny Arcade's comic today kind of had a little bit of that sort of bent to it, that it was like, well, what you guys wanted was like Disney ending where Shepard survives and everybody is like, yay, we did it, and then they have a big party and it was blah blah blah. And
that's bollocks. That's such a cheap such a cheap card to pull out, because the whole point of it is that you can choose your own ending. Okay, that would be nice to have that option. I mean, I think you should be rewarded if you made all the right decisions. You got the Geths and the Quarians together. You got the Turians and the Krogans together. You should be entitled to have either a happy ending where you live, or at least everyone else survives and toasts your memory.
I disagree with that. Mm-hmm. I think they can give you whatever ending they want, even if if everyone ends up, amputees or dead or in vegetative comas, as long as it's interesting and entertaining and makes sense. But if people say, well, you only wanted a happy ending, I'm like, really? Send them my way. My two favorite movies are The Empire Strikes Back and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay? So don't give me that you just want a happy ending bullshit, because those are downers, both of them, on different levels, yes. But I don't think we're entitled to any particular type of ending. I just think we're entitled to a good ending.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I mean, if you go back and look at when you and I played the Mass Effect 3 demo for the first time, I think the first question out of my mouth to you was, well, do you think Shepard's going to die at the end of this? And I don't think we really, went into it in detail, but like I was perfectly ready when I booted this game up to have Shepard in the ground by the end of the game.
I was expecting it, to be honest. I mean, because he's the hero. I mean, you're always sacrificing. You've sacrificed quite a lot. I mean, Mordin sacrificed himself just for Krogans.
Yeah.
And they hate the Solarians. So.
Plus, I think that you could also make a point. You could also make an argument that says that what this ending actually was probably way more Disney than anything that we would have imagined it would have been, because you've got Shepard becomes space Jesus, and then suddenly the Normandy crashes in the Garden of Eden, and it's like, well, I think I would have had more. I think I would have been happier with an ending that showed all of my squad mates getting shot individually in the middle of the war. Just something to tell me that you guys remembered that there were like 9 other characters in this game besides Liara, Joker, and Edie.
Did you want an Animal House style wrap up where it's like freeze frame on Tali? Tali went off to manage a Chick-fil-A.
That would have been awesome.
Joker still has broken bones.
Exactly. And then he's giving a thumbs up into the camera.
And then finally, there is what, Nick, you've been trying to get me to talk about the entire time. There's this theory that these people put together that the end of Mass Effect 3 is when Harbinger hits Shepard, that everything from that point forward is essentially a hallucination that is Shepard has been indoctrinated and the Reapers are trying to turn Shepard to their side, and that the ending of the synthesis ending or the take control of the Reapers ending are both basically Shepard submitting to indoctrination, and that the blow up the machines ending is your real path, your real objective, because that's the only one where you see after the credits Shepard breathe again, like Nick had said earlier.
It makes sense, because when you see Shepard waking up, he's waking up in rubble of concrete building blocks, stuff that the Citadel is not made of.
If
It's
you
more the
get
stuff
that,
London's made of.
if you get that ending, I didn't have the shepherd waking up in rubble.
Yeah, because it wasn't. You didn't get like a high enough thing. I didn't get it either. But after watching, I watched all the endings on YouTube, and I tried to find the one that had the perfect ending where the score was the highest. And you can see that he's waking up in rubble in a city. So it does suggest that he's been fighting, against the indoctrination of the Reapers. No one else ever sees the boy. Also, in several YouTube videos I've seen, they play whenever the boy's speaking. You hear multiple voices speaking at the same time, and they've actually separated the tracks. So when you hear the boy speaking, you also hear the voice of the male shepherd and the female shepherd, along with the boy talking at the same time. So, at first I was like, it seems kind of sad because all these fans are just clinging to any hope that this is not the real ending. But the more that I research into it, the more it does actually make sense, and it's quite credible that the future DLC is just going to be the real ending of what happened to Commander Shepard, and the fight with the Reapers is still going to happen.
If that is the case, I'm dropping this game like another 2 points in its score. Because
If the top is still spinning,
Right.
Jeff is out.
Right, because the thing is that I've read this, and to me, what I read of it made it. To me, I think it's just like people who they need to have an alternative. So they've come up with an interesting. It's a very interesting theory. There's some stuff in there that's credible. I think that's the sort of thing where, because you're talking about indoctrination and you're kind of rolling these real vague concepts, and part of it's a hallucination, you can kind of fit it in however you want to. I don't honestly think that's the way I don't think that's the actual way that it is. If it is, and then 4 months down the line, we've got a $10 DLC to show you what happens after you resist the indoctrination and come back to life. That's crap, because I spent $80 on the collector's edition of this game, and when I play a video game, I expect a motherfucking ending to it, and that is garbage.
But they've done this before. Remember, there was a Prince of Persia game which had an open ending, and fans were pissed off, and they released a DLC which actually had an epilogue, a real ending, for $10, of course.
Well,
it'd be crazy to give it for free.
I didn't.
It's like you're entitled to an ending to a game you bought.
Well, this actually factors in a lot of something that I wanted to talk about with Fallout 3. Generally, people consider the ending of Fallout 3 to be kind of like, but the thing is that when they released Broken Steel DLC to basically extend the ending a little bit and let you back into the game world, so that your character didn't die at the end. But the thing with the difference here is that all of the side stuff that you were doing in Fallout 3, all the different stories that you were taking part in, they weren't all directed at the ending of Fallout 3. Like, going out and doing a side quest was not; those weren't all tied back into the main story of Fallout 3. So when Fallout 3 ended, it was kind of like, oh, well, whatever. But the fact that all those little individual stories were satisfying all on their own, it didn't mess it up that bad. Whereas this, if there is $10 DLC to extend the ending of that game, what that means when you boil it down is that we were given an incomplete game. We're given a game without the full ending, and that is crap. That would be like, going to the movie theater and watching, an hour and 45 minutes of a movie, and then saying, well, we're going to release the last 15 minutes next month. You come back and spend $6 and see it. We'll give you a coupon to get, and it's just like, no, absolutely not. There's no way in the world that I could get behind that in any way, shape, or form.
I'm going to have to bite the bullet and say I would actually prefer that this is not the real ending. Because if they're just going to release DLC with, like, I don't know, another Prothean character or some shit like that, then I'll just be really angry, because I do want to find out what really happened to Commander Shepard. I'm praying that the indoctrination theory is right, because this ending is just too shoddy to believe that they actually thought that this would appease fans. Because 85% of the fan feedback has been, this is shit! What the fuck, man? You could do better than this. You're BioWare!
After listening to both of your very detailed explanations and everything, I would like to recant my initial response, and it is now, my standing on the ending is now, whatever. I got other shit to play.
That's, you know what, I kind of feel like once we get done with this that I can put this to bed as well. That it's like
You're exercising the demons.
I thought about this for like 4 days after we finished. Like, what am I going to say about this? What are we going to talk about? Was it really that bad? Am I just overreacting? Blah blah blah. And at this point, I'm kind of tired of it to the point where I just want to put it away and say, Mass Effect could have been like a game franchise that was on par. Like, seriously, Mass Effect was like vying for. It was getting close to getting up there towards Metal Gear as far as like, this could be my new favorite franchise that I've ever played. It hit that ending and it was just like, nope. It just you're a pretty good game that I'm going to put away, but at this point I don't have any interest in playing Mass Effect anymore. 1, 2, or 3. Like, I don't care. The ending of this game pissed me off to the point where it's deflated everything in the series. Who cares if Mordin is alive or dead? Who cares if Rex is alive or dead? What does it matter if at the end of the day you've got 3 switches to press and they all blow up the universe and fuck everybody?
I can't do that because like what that guy in Lost says, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I mean, like, it's the you can't deny that these are very good games, and I really did mean it when I said that Mass Effect 3 was between a full price and a better than sex.
I still keep that rating.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, up until the last 10 minutes of the game, it's just perfect. I mean, I don't care what other people said. I love Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. It's just the ending that's shit, and I'm praying that they release a proper ending and get me one more chance to destroy the Reapers.
See, I guess that's what I was trying to talk about when we were talking about the story structure, that I felt like all the choices that you made in the previous 2 games were building towards this conclusion, and the fact that conclusion fell over so hard for me, I mean, like, when I got done playing it, I honestly felt like this series had just been ruined for me, and it's been hard for me to go back and even think about it.
Yeah, but Jeffy, obviously you do care because we're doing a special podcast just to talk about the ending of the game.
No, I don't. I don't care.
Yeah. And we're hitting up to the 50-minute mark so far just to talk about one ending of a video game. We've never done this before, so it does have a special place in your heart. You just feel betrayed, like you rightfully should.
Let me put it this way: if Mass Effect 4 is coming out next year, we'll play it. That's my job. But, like, I'm not going to be jumping up and down in my seat or unlocking it at midnight or any of that stuff because I don't know. I feel like this. I feel like this franchise. I feel like they went to a lot of they did a lot of work in this game, in all of these games, to make you have a personal connection with this universe. And then when you hit that ending, none of that really matters. It just doesn't matter, and that bums me out more than anything else. And, some people have said, like, oh, that's the point. It's supposed to be a bum out because that's how the real world is. And you say, well, if I wanted to be bummed out, I'd read, Dostoevsky. I wouldn't play video games. And but for me, it's just I'm done with this series. I want to put it away and move on to something else. So I don't know. Final thoughts, gentlemen? Anything?
I don't think it ruined the franchise overall. Yeah, it was a letdown. I still stick with the whole full price rating of the game itself. But yeah, they could have done something better. I don't know how they're going to salvage it with a DLC. That would feel that'd be a tough pill to swallow. But I don't know. Maybe they can pull it out at some point.
Okay, Nick.
I hope that they really listen to their fan feedback is all I'm going to say. I mean, clearly they have done in the past, and they've made corrections. Like, I think in Mass Effect 2, one of the main complaints was that Liara wasn't in it enough, so they made that special, the Shadow Broker DLC where it was just her. So I really hope BioWare takes a moment to clearly think about why people are so pissed off, and not just go on the defensive straight away. Just take the moment and just consider why everyone's angry, and how much this series means to them, and hopefully release a proper ending.
All right. Well, as for me, I'm going to go back to writing my Commander Shepard Garrus/fic, so I'll let you guys go. But
send
thanks
it to me when you're done. I'll be a proofreader.
Okay, thanks to everybody for listening, and please, if there's one comment section on the website to fill up with spoilers, do it here, because we're already doing it.
Yeah, not on the review. Not on the review.
We need a plan to stop them. We fight or we die. That's the point.